So I believe this is just announced earlier today. Jubilee is set to appear in X-Men Apocalypse, the upcoming X-Men film, which will basically be a continuation of Days of Future Past, set in the new timeline. Hinted at the end of the film. If you haven't seen the Days of Future Past, it's a great film. It's probably the best in the whole series, honestly. And basically ends with the original X-Men actors that played Cyclops, Jean. Basically, everyone else killed off in the X3, been brought back, and the whole town's been reset. And Wolverine is basically said he's like, doesn't remember anything from the 70s going forward, which means that there's a lot of time that needs to be filled in. Still never explain how Professor X got back to life, but you know, just have to leave it to your imagination, I guess. It says X-Men ranks are filling up as director Bryan Singer has announced that Jubilee, one of the comic franchise mutants, will appear in X-Men Apocalypse to be played by young actress Lana Condor Jubilee. Hope they call her that in the film. But nice throwback to the animated series. Can they make colorful energy plasma that's used against enemies? Now, she's an interesting choice because Jubilee is not a character I would ever think about putting on film at all. Just compared to other mutants, she's kind of lame, honestly. I mean, she doesn't do anything that much in the animated series except cry or complain. She's like Wolverine's sidekick in the comics and the cartoon, which in the movies doesn't do nothing. I mean, not the movies, but the animated series doesn't really do that much. She's never been sent on any missions or anything. The highly anticipated Apocalypse will also feature the returns of Mystique, Professor X, Magneto, Moira McTaggart, and Beast. Audiences will also see younger versions of Nightcrawler, Storm, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. Nightcrawler is another one I have to scratch my head about because of everything that happens with First Class and Days of Future Past, because his father's dead. Azazel appeared in one film and he's already gone. So in the 10 years that passed between First Class and Days of Future Past, either Mystique has already had him already or he's just been there, but with no Azazel to be around, which I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know how they're going to explain that because they need to explain it in some way. Because it makes no sense to have the kid in there if his father's not around to father him. You could say he's Magneto's kid, but that makes no sense because Quicksilver is around that universe too. You saw Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, so. And that's his legitimate son. And Scarlet Witch is in there too, I think. But Nightcrawler doesn't really make that much sense. But depends on how they use him in the film, because this could be really cool. I've been wanting to see Nightcrawler come back since X2. They kind of butchered him again because Wolverine has to be in the spotlight in every freaking movie for some reason. It's all about star power, like I said before. That's why I don't really care for Avengers 2. Because it's going to be Tony Stark and friends, not the Avengers. I'm excited for this, though. If you didn't already know, I'm a freaking huge X-Men fan. Next to Spider-Man, X-Men are probably my favorite Marvel characters, period. Spider-Man, X-Men, that's the top two for me. And Nightcrawler is one of my favorite X-Men characters just in general. So my favorite X-Men characters: Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Beast, um, Gambit, Jean Grey, Professor X, Magneto. Yeah, those are the top ones. Cyclops has never really been my top, top five or whatever. Mostly because it doesn't really do that much anyway. The movie kind of made him into a little Mitch, but maybe now they can get him right. But I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know what they can do with him in this Apocalypse film, because if Apocalypse is actually going to show up, he's the end game for the X-Men. There's nothing else after you face Apocalypse. Sure, they got Mr. Sinister or something, I guess, but it's going to pale in comparison to freaking Apocalypse. Unless they're doing like a Thanos thing where they set up Apocalypse in this one and then have him actually fight them in another film. This could be a start of another trilogy, honestly. But young Cyclops, young Storm, like, why are they casting them so damn young? Still doing that stupid period thing where it's like 60s, 70s, 80s. Why don't you just make it in present day or something and get a new cast for the older version of these characters so they can kick some ass? I don't want to see no little ass Cyclops and Jean Grey getting their ass whipped by freaking Apocalypse. What's the point of that? Doing the same crap with Spider-Man in Marvel Cinematic Universe now. Got Spider-Man back, and now they're gonna make him a little ass kid again. Why? Why wasting our time sending him back to freaking high school again? We saw that shit twice, man. Twice. It wasn't any better the second time. So we're gonna have 14-year-old Spider-Man, little ass Cyclops, Jean, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Jubilee. Out of all of them, Jubilee is supposed to be the youngest one. So if she's a teenager, how are Scott and Jean teenagers? They're all supposed to be older. That's why I'm like, what are you doing? This is good and bad news at the same time. It's like Jubilee's the youngest member of the team. And then Kitty Pryde comes and she becomes the new V of the X-Men. It's like, scratching my head here, I'm like, it's a deuce. So, I'm a little conflicted at the moment. So, yeah. Because I was like, oh, Nightcrawler's coming back. But then I'm like, wait, why is he so young? Can't what's his face come back and do it? But I guess doesn't want to do it no more. Whatever. It's his loss, really. Chump. Jubilee. Yeah, she has some strange powers, man. She's like using, like I read in the description, plasma blast or whatever. It's like she was even in X-Men Legends for the PS2 and GameCube, I think. Not my first choice for a team of X-Men. My favorite team to choose: Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, and Jean. Maybe Beast instead of Jean or Scott. Doesn't really matter. But I rarely pick Jubilee. She's like on the bottom of the freaking list. I'll pick Rogue before I pick Jubilee. Or Gambit or Cable or whoever's in the game. Like, Jubilee, Nightcrawler, Young Storm, Jean. I guess I'm doing something, I guess. Maybe they'll do like a school thing where they learn to use their powers, but if they just learn to use their powers, how are they going to fight Apocalypse and survive? That's the thing I'm trying to figure out. Sure, we got a while before the movie comes out, but I'm just thinking right now. It's like speculation. It's like, Nightcrawler was a badass in X2. Disappeared in X3. Haven't seen him since. They recast him after the timelines erased. Little ass Nightcrawler. His father's not around. Pretty sure Mystica. I'm not sure if Mystica even had the kid. Well, no matter what she does, she can have a mutant kid. So he's gonna be born regardless, I guess. I don't know. They could just change to say he's Magneto's kid, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe Beast. Maybe Beast is the father. I don't know. As long as the kid's blue, I don't really care. I want to see him do some swashbuckling stuff like he did in the original comics. There's even an old arcade game I have on my iPod. The classic X-Men game from the arcade back in the day. From the 90s, if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. It's an old school game. It was like it came out like a year after I was freaking born or something. So yeah, this is good and kind of bad news. It's like I don't want to see all these young ass X-Men getting their ass kicked by Apocalypse because they're gonna get freaking destroyed. I'm telling you that right now. They're gonna get wrecked. I mean, you could have the best ensemble cast of X-Men. They're all gonna get wrecked. I don't even see Hugh Jackman's name on the cast list. So, is he gonna be absent in this film or something? Not that I'm really complaining. I mean, he's a great actor. He does a great job of Wolverine. But this might be an opportunity to get away from the Wolverine stuff for a bit. Give us something fresh, you know? Days of Future Past is pretty good. And he was in the background where he's supposed to be. That's where he should be. Because the same thing with Tony Stark and the Avengers. You put him too much in the spotlight, everybody else gets freaking sidelined. Characters like freaking Thor and Cap get pushed to the sidelines so Stark can have the freaking spotlight. That's what annoys me about the Avengers movies. And Thor has been nothing like he's supposed to be in these movies at all. With the exception of like the first 10 minutes of the first film, he's never been at full power. Everybody whoops his ass. Except for maybe Loki, but it's like, but not getting off topic now. Yeah, back to the animated series, Jubilee is not really known for being chosen to go on missions with the rest of the team. She's always being held back, especially by Professor X. Mostly because she's young and inexperienced, and her powers are freaking lame. Worst case scenario, she would get pretty badly hurt in a real fight. I think she tried to fight Juggernaut once, but I think Wolverine saved her. Probably did, because she's like a sidekick in the comics. Yeah, this is okay, I guess. Guess we'll have to see what happens, because I'm interested to see how they're going to pull this off. Because Apocalypse, like I said, he's the freaking endgame, man. He's the Thanos for X-Men. He's endgame. There's Mr. Sinister, Magneto, and then there's freaking Apocalypse. Apocalypse is at the freaking top. There's no one else after him, man. No one. Mojo, Arcade. Everybody else is B-list compared to him. There's nothing left after Apocalypse. So, like, the article says Jubilee's going to be in this new X-Men franchise or something. You know, a new trilogy, I guess. But, like, what are they going to do after Apocalypse? Unless they make it like a 3-parter or something like the Harry Potter series or something. I don't see how there's going to be a new trilogy or something. It's like, none of them are going to be alive for another trilogy. Honestly, if they go face to face with freaking Apocalypse in the same film, it's going to destroy him. The only one I can see is really surviving would be Magneto. And they're going to need Magneto and Professor X to, like, really team up in this one if they're going to hope to survive. Because having all these little ass kids, little Scott, little Jean, little Storm, none of them are going to be at full power. None of them are going to be experienced. So when they go up against freaking Apocalypse, they're going to get their asses kicked. Like, it's the same thing with Marvel Cinematic Universe right now with Spider-Man. The little 14-year-old Spider-Man ain't gonna be as experienced as he should be. And if they really wanted to get Spider-Man right, they would stop putting him in high school and move the hell on with his character. There's so many stories they could do with Spider-Man and Mary Jane. It's ridiculous. You keep putting him back in high school doing the same shit over and over again. It's ridiculous. It's gonna be the same exact thing we just saw twice in 10 years. Twice in 10 years. Only they're gonna do this teen angst bullcrap that no one needs to see, because if you've seen Twilight, you've seen it all. Does anyone really want to see little freaking Peter Parker in high school dealing with a bunch of teen angst and girl problems? I'm like, haven't we all been through that already? I mean, McGuire probably did it the most, I think, from what I can recall. Well, briefly, they both did it briefly, Webb and Raimi. But it wasn't really, it's not that important. He starts off in high school. No, that's not the end game, though. He gets married, he has kids, he goes old. He has a life. He doesn't just go to high school and that's it. The Ultimate Universe, yeah, sure. But 616? No. He graduated by like the early 70s, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Getting off topic. But, you get my point. I just want to see how they're going to do this, man, because this is interesting. Interesting move by Mr. Singer. And yeah, you're forgiven for what you did after X2, Singer. Just don't muck up the rest of the series. I won't have to come find you.